into jail for it. And the judge should have made a better fucking job of making sure that he stayed in jail.
Yes.
You know, they fucked up themselves. It's no one else's fault but theirs. So he gets out after 20 months. Now, we cut forward to possibly one of the most famous things to ever happen in the world of rock and roll. And that is Chuck Berry. Chuck Berry buys a restaurant in the late 80s, like 88, 89, buys a restaurant and installs video cameras in the women's toilets.
I heard about that.
Yeah, this is really, he's a fucking horrible prick. So he installs video cameras in the women's toilets and records women taking slashes and doing dirts and whatever else women to be up to in the toilets. I assume the same thing lads to be up to.
Seems, yeah, just what goes on in the toilet.
Yeah, exactly.
Bit of a cry every now and then. We've all done it.
Apparently I think there's two sides to this story. Well, not two sides, but two tales. Interwoven.
Two tales of the tape.
Yeah, interwoven into the story. I believe there was one lady who maybe worked in the restaurant who seen the camera, found the camera, some shit like that, and she brought it up with the cops. And Chuck said he had installed cameras all over the restaurant because he was told by the manager that there was staff stealing from the restaurant. Mm. So he kind of covered his own arse by saying, look, if there's an area without a camera, that's where they're going to go to count the money that they've stolen or hide the money that they've stolen or whatever. So I put a camera in the bathroom to make sure that I could catch them stealing money out of the till or stock or whatever.
Yeah. Pretty sure that's definitely still illegal.
Definitely still illegal. But there used to be a couple of pubs in Dublin that had cameras in the toilet as well. A few of them, they only lasted a year or two before they were taken down. But the plot thickens. So a couple of years later, the police raid Chuck Berry's home and they find weapons and drugs and they find this vast library of videotapes of fucking women that he'd been recording in the bathrooms. And that's when they figured out that it wasn't just for fucking people stealing. There's also rumours that there might have been minors on videotape, but that was never proven.
He's got a name for it.
He does have a name for it. What else? Around the late 80s, he was charged with assaulting a woman. Apparently, he physically attacked a woman. She had to get stitches. I think her mouth was ripped open, not just burst open, ripped open. She had broken teeth. I think she got 5 or 6 stitches. She lacerated her entire mouth, I think, up to her cheek. And had to get a couple of stitches to hold her face together again. But yeah, that's Chuck Berry. Again, he wrote a lot of fucking super music, but like at his core, there's a fucking scumbag. Like
we've gone from that insufferable to that scum.
That shitebag.
Yeah,
that's what he is. Right, here's your next one.
This is a tame one compared to that.
That's okay.
But that's okay. We're going to bounce between them. Obviously, don't putting them on the same list as that. Listen, this is what we're doing. It's ranging from just unbearable to downright
just
mean.
Not great people.
I find Van Morrison irritating, and I don't mind curmudgeonous old fuckers if they have a bit of charm, but I can't stand moany bastards if they have no charm at all. Yeah. And I know that Van Morrison is talented, despite the fact that I don't really like his music. Yeah. It annoys me.
I'm on the fence. That's what I am.
It's weird. I'll talk about the music in a minute because I can't really I've never been able to make up my mind about this.
Yeah.
I don't like him because he seems like a really, really rude guy. He charges over 100 quid for a ticket. Yeah. He comes out, doesn't say hello a lot of the time, doesn't make much conversation, doesn't really do. I'm sure he's done lots of encores in his life, but now a lot of people will say in the Tree Arena, one of the last gigs he played, people were like, seriously, coming out and not saying anything at all and walking off without saying goodbye or anything, without an encore. Just that comes across very cold. Yeah. Now, people might ask, does he have to do that? Not really have to do anything for the money, but you are an entertainer, and just saying hello might be
like the basics of absolute manners.
Yeah,
you know, good evening, thank you, good night.
His fans will be absolutely blown away by the effort he puts into the show. Of course, but it would leave me feeling a little bit cold if he just walked straight off after the song.
Yeah,
I'd be like, really?
Yeah.
Is that what you? Yeah.
Like he was forced into being there.
Like he couldn't have been fucking arsed.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's weirdly accused Bruce Springsteen of ripping him off in the past.
Really?
Bruce Springsteen has said he is influenced, was influenced by him, but not to the stage where Van Morrison's like, yeah, he just is a version of me that Americans like for the radio. Or something
don't know about that.
There's numerous stories. I didn't want to get too anecdotal. A lot of this stuff from my end of the just kind of unbearables and people who have a bad name for themselves naturally are going to be anecdotal. I wanted to stay away from too much of that because that's not fair.
No.
But there is numerous stories of artists saying he was rude to them.
There was a big one this week online about somebody who, I can't even remember who it was. Someone who wanted to do a duet with Van. And apparently, like, loads of people just stepped in and were like, "Are you fucking mad? Like, this fella is, like, known. Like, if he shows up to the studio, that's one thing.
Yeah.
Whether he'll bother his whole actually singing, if he shows up to the studio, is another thing. And if he does sing, will he even bother putting effort into it? Is, like, the third. Like, the list of, like, negatives for dealing and working with Van Morrison apparently is just staggering. And apparently, you catch him on a good day. Apparently, he's a normal person. And he's like handshakey, fucking super.
I think he's grand with actual fans, weirdly enough, despite being on stage and not talking.
But there's definitely something broken within that man. Like,
and I don't like I said, I have a lot of time for people like Ginger Baker and John Lydon who are known for being cantankerous, but there's a little boy in them, a little child in them. You can see it, and it's a bit of a charm about them as well. And they can be very funny. He's no humor, and that kind of cantankerous is not charming to me. No. I don't like that, and that's why I've always, whenever I hear Van, and maybe that affects. No, because I didn't like his music before. I found out he was a bit of a fucking dick. Weirdly, I want to put a song on this that I did like and didn't like by him, and it turns out I picked the same song.
Really?
Moon Dance, because in my head, I think of the start of it. Hate that bit.
Yeah.
Then hate that bit, but it goes, can I just have one more? That's a deadly bit.
Yeah, exactly.
And then back to this. That just sums Van Morrison up. I can't make up whether I like his music.
Yeah.
I think Brown Eyed Girl is a catastrophe of a song. I hate it. Every time you hear Brown Eyed Girl, mate, it's just
hurts.
Oh God, boys are back in
We're
town.
here again. Yeah.
But
I know.
Do it.
Burnt out on those songs, Burnt the
Days Like This is a good song.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely, like, again,
even his voice goes from bits that, like, when he's singing low, like, and he goes like, I'm like, oh no. But if you look at old videos of him from like the 70s, his voice is unreal. Like, it really is. Like Glory and stuff like that.
He's Irish, isn't he?
He's Northern Irish,
yeah.
Well, he's Irish, yeah.
Yeah, one of us.
Whatever, yeah. But yeah, like, I get that. I think it's the same a little bit with Rory Gallagher as well. A lot of people from the north were just like so into their music, didn't like doing interviews, didn't really like being seen as a rock star. Because in Ireland, you don't want to get that name for yourself to be basically the next guy on my list. You don't want to be seen as that. So who's your next one?
My next one is one of the most important musicians maybe ever, and it's Jerry Lee Lewis. I picked a song, Whole Lot of Shaking Going On. It's a good fucking song. Again, this dude is a fucking disaster. He is a fucking disaster. Like, okay, he's born in 1935. He's still fucking alive, I think.
Is he? Fuck.
I'm telling you now. I'm almost certain. I should have checked that, but I'm pretty sure.
Are some of these people eating the souls of children?
I think they're sucking the fucking souls of children out of their arseholes. I'm not entirely sure.
And Chuck Berry? No, it doesn't matter.
Chuck Berry's dead. He's born in 1935.
Fucking hell.
Exactly. Now, the whole thing about Jerry Lee Lewis is that he's mad into women, right? He's just mad into women, and
he's incorrigible.
He is incorrigible.
He's an awful character.
He's just like, Jesus fucking Christ. In 1958, they had a tour cancelled on him, right? He was only kind of starting to get big. He was starting to get known.
Because he rode the whole audience.
Probably. Everybody in the audience was his children. He has a tour cancelled because a journalist found out that his wife is 13 years of age, and it's his cousin.
So much wrong with that. So many wrong things there.
You know what's fucked up about this, right?
That.
So, this is what's fucking mad, right? It's 1958.
It was just the thing back then.
No, not even that, right?
Come on.
Think about this, right? 1958. his wife, who was 13 years of age, and his cousin, turns out that was his third wife.
Oh, God. Oh, Jesus.
Now, that 13-year-old that he married, that marriage lasted 13 years.
One for each year of her life.
Yeah. Lasted for 13 years. Now, when they did break up, she cited mental and physical abuse and all sorts of shit. Because he's mad. He's fucking mad. Mad. I don't know whether anything ever came of it. Eventually, he was married 7 times. Jerry Lee Lewis has been married 7 times. He has 6 children that we know of.
You would think he'd have more.
Cop on? I don't know. Yeah. He's just mad for women. He's just mad for women.
I think he had a sort of a condition where he had kind of inflamed testicles.
I think so. He just couldn't stop driving muck out into the world.
Not because he's got great balls of fire.
No, not doing it. His 5th...
Some people would have saw that coming and just literally turned off the podcast.
His 5th marriage, I think that only lasted 77 days, something like that.
And that girl was only alive 77 days.
Pretty much. Brand new. Now, this is where it gets weird. Her name was Sean Stevens. And Sean, yeah, I know, Sean.
With a W?
With a W.
Yeah. It's a nice name for a girl, Sean.
I'd never heard of a girl called Sean before.
Really?
Yeah. She's like Shauna and Shona and but Sean I never heard.
No, I've heard it.
Ended with her death. And she died in a car accident, I think I'd have to pull it out of my hole. But there was a couple of journalists who were heavily invested and involved in Jerry Lee Lewis, and a bunch of those have come out and reckoned that he was responsible for her death. He had her fucking offed some way. Now, apparently there's been 2 wives in his kind of cabal, his collection of women that have met strange ends. So he may be that.
As in, out of his 7 wives, more than one has died?
Yes, 2, I think.
Well, was one of them from old age?
No.
Oh.
No. Nope. Get this. In 1993, he moves to Ireland. Did he fucking did?
Cork, right? Probably, was it? They all go to Cork.
I think it might be in Kerry. I can't remember.
Really?
I think it's Kerry, yeah.
Always
but he moves to Ireland because he's hiding from the IRS for tax evasion. So he thinks he'll just fuck up over here. And he apparently loved Ireland anyway. And but he comes over. I was
about to say he was hiding from the IRA. I was like, that's a terrible place to hide.
So he gets arrested. Or they tried the IRS come after him for tax evasion. There was murder going on in the early 90s with Jerry Lee Lewis. He was suing his own children for he thought they were stealing his money. He was suing all managers. I think one of his daughters was his...
I think he needs a good slap.
He got a few.
I think he just needs a big slap.
Yeah, he got a few. He was also arrested for trying to kill Elvis once. Elvis was his best mate and he went out in the piss. And someone said something to him in the bar that Elvis said something about him. So he jumped in his Cadillac and crashed into the gates of Graceland. pulled the fucking gun out and started waving it around, screaming that he was going to kill Elvis. Now, luckily enough...
Elvis knew karate.
Elvis did know karate. But Elvis was there. Elvis was at home. But apparently the guy who worked on the gate at Graceland was Jerry Lee Lewis's cousin who was able to talk him down. They were all connected. They were all mates.
Mad. That's mad.
Each other. So he was able to calm him down.
I thought you were going to go, he was going to let him in.
Oh yeah, get in,
hey,
get
cuz, what's the story? If he had strolled up all chilled, he would have been like, hey, cuz, Elvis invited me in.
No,
he
crashed
on the list.
into the gate with a gun, screaming that he was going to kill Elvis. Elvis apparently came out when the cops had him, and the cops said, like, Mr. Presley, what do you want us to do with this fella? And he's like, that's Jerry Lee Lewis. And they're like, yeah, but he's after crashing into your gate and he's got a gun, said he was going to shoot you. What do you want us to do? And everybody thought, apparently the cops were like,
let's cut a record right now.
Yeah, but apparently the cops were going to be like, the cops thought that Elvis was going to say, oh, listen, just let him off. I'll get a new guy tomorrow. No, take him with you, arrest him, get him out of here. Lost his fucking Elvis, proper turned on him. And they had a bit of a falling out then after that. He was also...
well, to be fair, like... maybe it was just like, get him some sleep. Or get him away from my gate with a gun and a car.
Quite possibly. He also attempted to kill his bass player once. He pulled out a magnum and shot at him.
Jesus, a magnum?
Yeah.
You get hit anywhere in the body with that,
exactly,
pretty much dead.
And apparently you fucking, like, literally, the bullet went through his hair. That's how close it was.
Yeah.
No charges pressed or anything like that. But yeah, this is just a scumbag. So he's had
Elvis
two.
shot a gun at one of his wives as well to wake her up.
He did, yeah, the headboard. Yeah, that's right.
He's another not so great.
Well,
dude.
we got 2 for 1 there.
Yeah,
really
nice.
fucking wonderful.
I tried to get a great 2 for 1 earlier.
Did you?
Do you know who it was?
Who?